Live from New York. It's a show that's wishing you a happy Juneteenth. But we're starting with the last call for Indianapolis. Thunder favored by 5.5. It went from 6 to 5.5, moving lines. Halliburton said if he can walk, he's going to give it a go. He is going to be shooting. All right, bro. All right. What are the chances that Indy pulls off the upset? This is
Wiles, you get you some. Get you some.
It only works for me. It is what it is, baby. Naptown tonight. All right. Go ahead. I think that was a malfunction.
Fool me once.
Go ahead. Is it? Maybe there's something wrong with it.
I think it is registering your actual belief in your heart, and it's seeing that
right.
It
is
work.
all heart. It's heart. All right, look. Heart is the appropriate word, because that's what I'm banking on. Their heart. Their never say die attitude. I was inspired late in the third quarter. Game looked like it was over.
Yeah.
And they came back behind T.J. McConnell, rallied in early in the fourth, and got within 2. So I believe that they can pull this out tonight. All postseason, they've been proving people wrong, including me earlier in this season. But Milwaukee, Nick, even though they were favored, a lot of people thought because of Giannis and Dame came back that Milwaukee would win. Obviously, they were the underdogs heavy against Cleveland. Not only win, but do it in 5. Underdogs against New York. Steal game 1 when most people thought it wouldn't even get to 6 games. So they've already defied the odds. So I believe tonight that they can go ahead and get it done. On top of that, they got a great coach who's had a few days now to come up with something. You know, OKC found something. They went big with the starting lineup. They've won the last 2 games.
They found something. What they found was the thing they've been doing all year that maybe they should have just stuck with.
Should have stayed with that. But, yeah, I think, they got a good shot. And I think Halliburton can have a big game.
Really?
Even though I think he might be able to come out and have a big game. So I'm going with the Pacers to win this thing.
Okay, so a few things. One is you laid it out well about what they've done. What they haven't done at any point in this postseason is been behind. What they you know what I mean? They've jumped out 2-0 in every series other than this one, and this one they jumped out 1-0 and then 2-1. So not only have they not faced elimination, I'm not going to say they haven't faced adversity. Playing 64 when Cleveland is facing adversity. Playing Giannis is not having home court in the conference finals. I get all that, but they have been in control of all these series. And by the way, that was the case a game and a half ago. They were up 2-1. In control of Game 4. And I worry for Pacer fans and for Carlisle and Halliburton and everyone involved that they are going to look back to those final 15 minutes of Game 4 as the moment the championship slipped through their fingers. If they are going to, however, at least extend the series by winning tonight, I think the recipe is, and this is very kind of simplistic, but like you've said, when Halliburton scores 20, they win. The other thing is when they get to 111 or more, they are undefeated this postseason, and they've lost every game they haven't. So I'm putting the number at 115, and this is what I think the kind of combination of it has to be. I think that you need to get 45 from Pascal and Halliburton. I think it's probably likely 30 and 15 Pascal and Halliburton.
Okay.
But I think those 2 guys. I think that asking too much offense out of Nembhard and Nesmith is a mistake because those guys are tasked with so much defensively. So I would say 20 combined from those 2. And that leaves 50 points for these 3 players.
Still a lot of points.
But for these 3, this is how I think they're going to have to do it. For the 3 M's, T.J. McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, and the guy that I have been saying all series has to have a big game for them to be able to pull off this upset of the series in Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Can Mathurin give you one of his 20 points in 17 minutes, even if he plays more than that, but like one of those bursts? Can McConnell give you another 10? And can Miles Turner, who again in his playoff career has gone for 25 plus, I think 6 times, this regular season went for 30 plus, I think 5 times. We have seen him in his playoff career, he has 6 games where he hit 4 or more threes.
Yeah.
Can Miles Turner finally give you a real offensive punch? And that's how you get to your 115. Because I just don't think they are. You can hope Oklahoma City misses shots. Like, you can hope they miss shots.
Sure.
But aside from that, I don't think Indiana has the defensive personnel to shut Oklahoma City down. I don't think they can beat this team 98-92. You know what I mean? I just don't see. I don't think
that's not their game anyway. And they've played good defense, but OKC
still finds a way to score.
They have to do 2 things. One is they're going to turn the ball over sometimes. Don't get crazy with the turnovers, and then don't let OKC convert them into points. The only game OKC did that in was game 5.
Yep.
So that just shifted the whole game and got OKC out going in transition. So if they can cut down on OKC's points after turnovers, and then they have to hit threes. They didn't shoot well from 3 in game 5. They have to hit. Didn't in game 4 either, really. But they got to hit some threes, which they should be able to do at home. Turner's due.
Turner is due.
Yeah.
My goodness.
They're open. Halliburton is the main story. He played a lot of minutes, didn't make a shot, only took 6 shots, had 4 points. I think he's going to start, so let's just assume for this conversation he's starting. We'll go to you, bro. At the end of the first quarter, what will make you say, oh, no, this is not going my way? Regardless of the score, Halliburton's personal stat line.
How he's moving. It won't even be the personal stat line because, as I said,
stat lines have not been good early in these games.
And he, as I said, in game 5, his aggressiveness or lack thereof was similar to how he's been all series. So I'm not going to, it's going to be, is he clearly limping? Like you could see when Aaron Gordon played in game 7 for Denver against OKC, you could see physically he was, fighting through it, but he just didn't have any burst. That's what if I don't see any burst, you see he's clearly slower, hindered, whatever it might be, then that's when I'm going to be concerned. But it's not going to be based on his stat line.
This is something I think you enjoy quite a bit. I think Brew will look at Liz foolishness.
This is when the show is at its best.
So if you're rooting for the Pacers.
Yep. Which I kind of am.
Right. But
excuse me. I 100% am.
I don't know.
Because I picked the Pacers.
If they win, I don't think you get.
Would you right now sign up for a 14-point, 8-assist, 6-rebound game from Tyrese Halliburton? That you're locked in. The reason for the question is say no to that. Obviously you could have this monster game or also a no-show. 14, 8, and 6.
14, 8 rebounds.
No, 8 assists. I'm sorry. So 14, 6, and 8 is how I should have said it.
I am not signing up for that.
Okay. So,
oddly,
so
I need more points.
So you think they need more than that from Halliburton?
I think you need more.
I agree with
I think you need more. And then I also think I like when he drives. I like when he initiates contact. I like when they play such an aggressive defensive style. And this goes back to Haberstroh's article. I like when he's taking free throws. Everybody can get a breather. Maybe OKC also.
KW, I don't mean to interrupt your analysis.
Nick's hype.
This is major news. I mean, we
might get there before
we might
the
get there. We might get there during the show.
We just lost one.
I like that it moves one. Somebody unsubscribe.
We lost.
Just let it happen. Just let
now
it
we're back.
happen. You
the
can't
person is just toying with us.
Somebody.
You got to be like Halliburton and let the game
come to
come
$1 million during the show, we're having a celebration. The
also
whole thing's derailed.
Get some banners up there.
This was an early.
Where are the trumpeters?
This was a late idea. Just say something underneath there, Gianna.
Subscribers.
This is
accurate. So what?
Yes.
Subscribers.
It's just in general.
People, we know it. We're crushing. We're crushing. Buddy.
Okay, people don't know what they're subscribing.
You
to.
You know what I'm starting
This could
to
be
feel?
up all the time. Wow, first at 9, we're back down.
No,
I'm starting to get a tickle in my belly.
Yeah,
like Benedict Mather.
Oh
no, we can't do it. They're on the same channel, both of those things. All right, moving on to the other side of the ball. Thunder are on the doorstep of their first franchise championship. If they win tonight, they will have had one of the most successful seasons in NBA history by the numbers, bro. Most wins in a season.
Drew's already annoyed.
If OKC wins the title. You've got the, legendary teams here, the Warriors
Who didn't win the
96 Bulls,
title.
97 Bulls. Still,
Yeah.
a lot of wins. So if they raise the trophy, would you consider OKC an all-time great?
If they win this championship, mad love to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The great Sam Presti, who is phenomenal. For him to, I mean, he is the one that brought the big three together in the first place with Harden, Durant, and Westbrook.
Yep.
To lose those guys, two of them just left you, in free agent. Was Harden a trade?
No, Harden was
He
a
was
trade,
gonna
but
leave,
Harden
but
was
yeah,
a
it was
trade to Houston, but they didn't
'cause
get
they
a
wouldn't
bunch.
give him the
They got
max.
Jeremy Lamb, what
Right,
turned
they
into
just
Steven
took
Adams.
what they could
Yeah.
get because he was leaving,
Exactly.
and obviously Durant walked out the door. And then to rebuild this quickly.
Well, it's been.
Well, I mean, it's hard to do though.
But
It's
keep in
hard
mind,
to
I mean, think about it
rebuild
like this. In 17, Russ
They were
is there
actually
winning
still pretty
MVP.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know
still
what I
got
mean?
Paul
In
George.
2020, they're in the bubble with Chris Paul.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In the playoffs.
Different
He
so
has
that
just
you-
made
right.
great
So
moves
they only
after
bottomed
great
out
move
for 2 years.
after great move.
Yeah.
So if he gets his championship, which is well deserved, I mean,
Yeah.
props to him. But no, 1,000 times no. I mean, no, look, they will be the second youngest team ever to win an NBA
Isn't that
championship.
potentially an argument in their favor?
For the future, sure. And I'm leaving some room for the future. Hear me out. But right now, no way. Look at the all-time great teams. The Jordan Bulls.
They were just on the-
They are obviously not putting them with them. The KD Steph Warriors. Indiana has one definite bucket, and he's a second or third tier bucket, and that's Pascal Siakam. And they're giving them all they want.
Well.
Denver had Jokic, who's obviously great, but MPJ couldn't even lift his arm above his shoulder, and Aaron Gordon played Game 7 on was it torn hamstring? I think it ended up being
Yeah,
torn.
that's what they said, yeah.
Torn hamstring. So again, not taking anything away from him because I don't diminish any championships. I don't care what
No,
injuries there
but
are.
whether or not
But
you
all
romp
time,
through the playoffs has to matter.
Yes.
That part is fair, KW.
And this is where you talked about the future. You brought it up, Nick. This has to play out because if in 5 years from now they've won even one title, maybe two, and SGA, who will still be a superstar, but Jalen has become a superstar. Chet is a guy, makes a couple All-Stars. Then you're looking at, this is a legit big three, and these dudes are great players, and this was an all-time great team. But that's the only one-off, because I mentioned the Bulls, the Warriors, Shaq, Kobe, Lakers, Showtime Lakers, 86 Celtics, who won 3 championships. I'm not putting them with any of those teams. The only one-off is the 83 Sixers with Moses Malone, a 3-time MVP in his prime, Dr. J in his prime, obviously
And
some other
I don't
great
even really
players.
consider them a one-off. They had won the East 3 of the previous 6
Right,
years.
and then Moses went there.
Moses got there. So here's
I can't put them with those guys.
I'm going to try to meet,
And that team was 12-1 in
correct.
the playoffs.
I'm going to try to meet you in the middle of where I think you want us to be.
Okay, how do you know where I was?
Because I know you and I
You
saw
wanted
your
to make
body
Boston
language.
an
And
all-time great.
No, I think it's unfair when you're talking about a team for a year that we end up expanding
but that's-
way
Was
out.
Boston an all-time great team last year? Everybody thinks so. And everybody thought they were going to win it this year. Now what? Now we're like, no way.
Here is the argument backing up what Bruce said, and then I'm going to make an argument I think about that backs up where I think you are. When we talk about the best teams ever, for most fans, you're actually not talking about 1 year.
Right.
It is teams, like if I say to you, we're the Showtime Lakers, one of the best teams ever, your answer would be yes.
I'm thinking like a decade.
Right, but if I'm like, okay, what's their best season? Like, we might have different answers. I think it's 85. Some people would say it's 87. Like there's different arguments. Yeah. The 86 Celtics are probably definitively the best of that Celtics run. People talking about that run. The Jordan Bulls, people will jump to 96 because they won the 72 games. I don't think that was the best Bull. I think the 92 Bulls, their second championship, was their most dominant team ever. And the Shaq Kobe Lakers, I think it was the 01 team. But it's usually, when we talk about best teams ever, it's a team that has an extended stretch. Yep. So I think what Brew is saying, and where I agree with him in that regard, is if the Thunder rip off a run, we might then look back and say, hey, the SGA J-Dub Thunder are in that list. And what was the best team of all of them? Be like, oh, the year they won 68 games and had MVP, and it's this year. So in that regard, I totally agree with Brew. The question I think you're asking is basically, yes, but as far as best single seasons ever, and where I would say is, since the merger, if you want to say this is top 10 in the last 45 years, yeah. Do I absolutely think this 2018 Thunder is the best team we've had since the Steph KD Warriors? So better than the 19 Raptors, the 20 Lakers, the 21 Bucks, the 22 Warriors, the 23 Nuggets, the 24 Celtics. Yeah, I do.
Really?
I do think that. I think they've earned that by having league MVP. I don't know who you would pick.
Well, the 23 Nuggets, you obviously had, again, that team was much better than these Nuggets.
Yes.
And these Nuggets took them 7. You had Aaron Gordon at the height of his powers. Jamal Murray was balling. You could take them. You could even take the 22 Warriors, because I think the Warriors play a style that would give this OKC team some problems.
Yeah.
So but do you like that? So
I buy
think
that,
that's
but I think
all
it's
fair.
I think it's unfair when you look at, we'll put up point differential. We already saw that, like, hey, we've won the 3rd most games ever. And then we're also smashing teams. So we've won the 3rd most games ever. In those wins, we're winning games by 12 points. If you're talking about, they went 7 with Denver. Okay, well, when they're beating teams, they're beating them by 12 points. In the first round, they beat a team by 50 points. So I don't like it. You're not.
They definitely
you don't get
are.
because the team was just formed. They're not eligible to talk being.
No, but I do think so.
Ever.
So there's a couple things. On the most wins, there has to be the account for that teams for a long time couldn't add 16 wins in the playoffs.
Yes.
So but the 82-game regular season's been it for a while, and 68 is all time. But you know what I mean? We've had one 69-win team, and then
72,
and then
73.
So this is tied for the 4th most regular season wins ever. The point differential is less notable to me, sadly, because of last year's Celtics. Because do we think that? Well, is
two great hamburger places.
Is it coincidental, or do you think, KW, it's likely that in 10 years, 7 of the best 10 point differentials ever are going to be from the last decade?
Just like the offensive rating.
Right, because
the Celtics had one of the best offenses of all time this year.
Yeah, and so that part to me is.
And I also think the 68 wins, you got the load management now. So there are many games where the star player may not have even faced OKC. Injuries seem to be up. And as Nick said, the point differential can be 3-point shots, points,
Are you comfortable, Wilds, if I were to say, in the modern NBA, which to me is just start basically with the Showtime Lakers, so post-merger essentially, that without listing them, you know what, I think this might be the 12th best team. Is that complimentary enough? Because I think I haven't listed them all out in my brain, but that to me feels.
So you're counting the dynasties as one?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm saying seasons. I'm saying there have been 45 seasons. If the only teams eligible are the 45 champions, that this Thunder team probably comes in just outside the top 10, but in the top 15, I think that's probably fair. As far as the
on
team
paper,
for the season.
they certainly are. Yeah. Just with the.
Oh my God!
We're within 500. We might not have to shut it down.
Wait, guys, I told you.
If we're not.
I don't know why Bruce celebrating. This is my.
It is your idea. Good
look
call.
at this. Less than 500.
I will give you a good call.
Less than 500.
Guys,
you know what this deserves?
We are 440 million behind Mr. Beast. Let's just.
You know what?
Tamp it down a little.
You
I'm
are
just saying.
such a party
This is
pooper.
like winning.
This is a team accomplishment that we're rooting for.
I'm sorry. I like to win.
We're not going to ever beat Mr. Beast.
Not with that attitude. We're not. You're right. Welcome back to First Things First. Now, Dusty said we were approaching 1 million, and And I guess we're going to sit here and wait
it's
for
gonna
10
hit.
more
Brew, your
subscribers.
Twitter is a powerful beast.
Let's do
Here
it.
it is.
Let's do this.
3, 2.
Two.
Come on. 1. Who's gonna be the millionth? Bam, right in your face, Kata. Oh, Brew exploded it on
I shot myself.
Our friends are here.
The trumpeters.
I just want to reiterate, there are several other shows that we consider ourselves peers with that have millions of followers.
Yeah, I know.
This feels a little
It's why it
junior
was-
varsity
Don't even say
to have
that.
this big of a celebration.
It's not. What do you mean
for
that
a
big?
million.
These guys are the best, but they're here 12 times a year. We have these all the time.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Good
of
to see you
course.
guys.
Yeah, great job. Great timing.
We usually
Outstanding.
save this for the Super Bowl. But now as I've mentioned, Gianna.
Look at this. We're on our march to 2 million already.
Thank you. I'm on the march to 406.
What's that?
We're gonna hit
Mr.
1-1,
Beast.
No, but KW.
maybe 1-2.
I'm after Mr. Beast.
KW. That's not happening.
Why not?
It-
Because you don't believe.
Because he's 40 billion or 400 million ahead
406.
of us.
We're
or whatever it is.
405 million away from Mr. Beast. Beast, I'm still locked in. And I dropped the Mister.
Oh. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.